Welcome back, children, to part 4 of Chapter 5, Natural Vegetation and Wildlife. Today, we will cover India's wildlife and questions asked on page number 32 and 34. Wildlife of India. Like its flora, India is also rich in its fauna, that is, animal life. The elephants are the most majestic animals among the mammals. They are found in the hot and humid forests of Assam, West Bengal, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. One-horned rhinoceros are the other animals which live in swampy and marshy lands of Assam and West Bengal. Arid areas of the Rann of Kutch and the Thar Desert are the habitat for wild ass and camels respectively. The Himalayas harbor a hardy range of animals which survive in extreme cold. Rare snow leopards are found here. Ladakh's freezing high altitudes are a home to yak. The bison is a native of the deciduous forest regions in Maharashtra. Deer, antelopes and monkeys are found in the Peninsula region. India is the only country in the world that has both tigers and lions. The natural habitat of the lion is the Gir forest in Gujarat. Tigers, as we all know, it's the national animal of India. They are found in the Sundarbans and deciduous forests of Madhya Pradesh and at the foothills of the Himalayas. Now children, please note that in your textbook they have not given you the locations where exactly these animals are found. So in this presentation I made it a point that I mention the places. In the rivers, lakes and coastal areas, turtles, crocodiles and gharials are found. Now what is the difference between a crocodile and a gharial? A crocodile has a blunt nose. So if you see here, it's got a blunt nose here. And the gharials have a long nose. So this is the main difference between a gharial and a crocodile. Because of its rich and diverse vegetation, bird life in India is colorful. Peacocks, which is the national bird of India, Indian bustard, kingfishers, pheasants. Then we have ducks, parakeets, cranes and pigeons are some of the birds inhabiting the forests and the wetlands of the country. Many species of wildlife are on the verge of extinction from India because of the following reasons. The first one is poaching. Now what do we mean by poaching? Poaching means illegal hunting or capturing of wild animals for commercial purposes or personal use. Now this is the picture which shows poaching. Now the second reason is pollution. Now pollution could be due to chemical and industrial wastes, acid deposits, introduction of alien species. So last year we saw that there was fire outburst in the Amazon rainforest. So this is also one of the reasons for pollution. So in this picture we see pollution. The third reason is deforestation. Now what is deforestation? We already know. So reckless cutting of the forest to bring land under cultivation and inhabitation. So this happens because of the increasing population. Okay. Now What is the government doing to protect the forest? Now, the government of India has set up a number of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, bird sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves for the protection of wildlife and forests in India. Now, what do we mean by national parks, sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves? Let's understand. A sanctuary is nothing but it's a natural area, okay, where wildlife can live in their natural surrounding. Okay, it's a natural surrounding for the wildlife to survive. Okay, and in a sanctuary, grazing and fishing is allowed only after permission. Now, what is the difference between a national park and a sanctuary? Now, first let's try to understand what a national park is. A national park is like a sanctuary, except here cattle grazing is not allowed. So the difference between a sanctuary and a national park is, in a national park cattle grazing is not allowed, fishing is not allowed, but in a sanctuary only after permission. What do you say, cattle grazing and fishing is allowed. Now both the parks and sanctuaries provide the animals with protection and natural environment in which they can thrive, in which they can grow. Now what do we mean by biosphere? Some areas which are outstanding in their diversity of their vegetation. That means in areas where vegetation is very diverse and rich and their wildlife have been identified as biosphere reserves. Entire ecosystem is protected within these reserves. So the entire ecosystem is protected here. Now, in 1973, Project Tiger was launched to save the tiger population in India. Several tiger reserves have been set up under this project, so we know this. In 1991-92, Project Elephant was launched to protect the Asiatic elephant. We are done with the wildlife of India. Now we move on to page number 32, figure 5.1 of a geography textbook. Now they have asked us to identify and observe these pictures. So this is the cactus plant. It is found mostly in areas which receive less rainfall. So it is found in both Brazil as well as India. These are the coffee bean. It's a coffee bean tree, or we could say it's a coffee tree, found mostly in Brazil. Teak tree, it is found both in India as well as Brazil. Then this is the rufous-bellied thrush. It's the national bird of Brazil, found only in Brazil. Then we have the jaguar. It is found both in India as well as Brazil. This is anaconda, which is mostly found in Brazil. On page number 32 in figure 5.2, they have given us a cross section of Brazil. This is the northern part of Brazil and this is the southern part of Brazil. So they have given a cross section of Brazil starting from north to south, in which they have mentioned the physiography, the flora and fauna, rainfall, temperature and height, and the different regions in Brazil. So to understand this figure, we also need help of the physical map of Brazil. Now this is the physical map of Brazil. So let's start. Okay, so if you see this is the Brazilian highland. This is the Brazilian highland. So if you see here, okay, this is the Brazilian highland. This is the escarpment. Okay, so the escarpment is here. So this is the southern part which they have shown, and this is the northern part. Now the latitude extent which they have mentioned in this figure is 5 degree 11 minutes north to 25 degree 24 minutes south. So this is above the equator. Yes, so they have mentioned this from year to year. Now these are the coastal plains. So these are the coastal plains here. Now the rainfall, the average rainfall that the coastal plains receive is 1200 millimeters, and the average temperature this area receives is 27 degrees Celsius. Now When we move on to the Brazilian highlands, okay, because of the escarpment, this region is called the leeward region or the rain shadow region, and this particular region receives an average rainfall of 600 millimeters. The average temperature is 23 degrees Celsius, and the type of flora or the types of forests that are found here are the temperate forest, and the animals that are found in this particular forest, temperate forest. So this is the, here we have the temperate forest or the Atlantic forest, okay, where the grasses are short and there are no trees. So the animals that are found in this region are reptiles and grassland animals, which are giraffes, elephants, squirrels, tigers, etc. Then we move on to the Paraná, Paraguay. Now if you see this figure, okay, from the Brazilian highland, okay, the Brazilian highland has a slope towards the north, okay, it slopes towards the north, and the slope is not very steep, it is gentle. Okay, so the Paraná basin, this is the Paraná basin, this is the Paraguay Paraná basin. So we are talking about this region, and this region, in this region, the type of forest that we find is the deciduous forest. The average temperature is 21 degrees Celsius, and the average rainfall that this region receives is 1500 millimeters, and the type of animals found here are the grassland animals. Okay, then we move on to the Amazon basin. So this is the Amazon basin. Okay, so the type of forest here is the equatorial forest. Average temperature is 28 degrees Celsius because it is closer to the equator, and the rainfall is more than 2000 millimeters, and that's the reason we find equatorial forest. The amount of sunlight is also high here. Okay, and the animals found in this region are reptiles, arboreal and aquatic animals. The arboreal animals are nothing but animals that live on trees. We then move on to the Guyana Highlands. So if you see, this is the Guyana Highlands in the map. So this is the region. So the height here is up to 1000 meters, a little more than 1000 meters. Okay, the average temperature is 21 degrees Celsius. In this region, the amount or the average rainfall is 1600 millimeters, and the type of forest found in this particular region are the tropical forest. The animals that are found in this area, okay, region are the apes, okay, family of monkeys. We now move on to page number 34 of our textbook, in which they have, in colors of both, they have asked us some questions. Now the first question, in which country do equatorial forests occupy a greater area? What could be the reason behind it? Now the country in which equatorial forests occupy a greater area is Brazil. Now the reason behind this is, we all know that equatorial forests occur in regions which get plenty of rainfall, okay, throughout the year. Now why do they get plenty of rainfall throughout the year? Because the equator passes through Brazil, and since the equator passes through Brazil, the climate here is hot and humid. Now hence this particular region receives convectional type of rainfall, and this region also receives longer duration of bright sunlight. So these are the factors which are suitable for equatorial forests. The second question, which type of forest found in India and not found in Brazil? Now the type of forest which is found only in India is the Himalayan forest. It is not found in Brazil. The third question, which type of forests found in Brazil are found in India too? Now they are asking which type of forests are found in both the countries. So the forests that are found in both the countries are the evergreen forest, the deciduous forest and the thorny shrub forest. The fourth question, in which country a greater diversity of vegetation is found? What is the reason behind it? Naturally, the greater diversity of vegetation is found in Brazil. Now the reason behind it is, the latitudinal extent of Brazil is more than India. Now the equator and the Tropic of Capricorn both pass through this particular country. Hence, Brazil experiences tropical as well as temperate type of climate. Most part of Brazil lies under the equatorial rainforest because these regions receive rainfall throughout the year and lot of sunlight, and they also receive lot of sunlight. Hence, maximum vegetation and greater diversity is found in Brazil. Considering the climate and vegetation types, in which country will forest-based occupations flourish? Now, considering the climate and vegetation types, the country in which forest-based occupations will flourish is none other than Brazil. Now, we already know that Brazil is rich and diverse in vegetation. Hence, forest-based occupations will flourish only in Brazil. It will also flourish in India, but compared to India, it will flourish more in Brazil. With this presentation, children, we have come to an end of our today's presentation and chapter 5, natural vegetation and wildlife. I know you have understood. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe. Take care.